This is one of my favorite quilts. I like tulips. I like the fact that the colors blend so well, and I really like colorful things in my living spaces. This is one of my favorite medallion style quilts that I've made. I have this displayed in my living room. I like to look at it. It's really colorful. I like the colors. I like the motifs. And I'm very pleased with this one. But as a medallion quilt, again, the center block looks to be like, some of those old Persian rugs with a 9 patch in the middle and then angled lines of color back and forward on a diagonal. And each row of the medallion coming out towards the edge has a colored border that separates it from the next one, but the colors also blend in. There's a lot of small blocks in this quilt. These centerpieces are 9 patches. These pieces here are just strips on a diagonal, very easy. These down here are 9 patch blocks, blue and white. And around the edge, I made tulips because I really like making tulips. Tulips are easy, they're colorful, and whenever you're using things like this at the outside for a border, you can add a spacer in between the pieces to make the block the right size to go into the space that you have. I also put some spacers across the top and across the bottom. In the center, a bird. There's a fussy cut square in the center of each of those, and they each have a bird. I find it's fun to have little surprises like that when you're looking at the quilts later, after you've made them and put them away and stored them for somebody to have or to keep yourself. So I like the little motifs in all of the tulips. Tulips are one of my favorite blocks to make. You can use such a variety of colors. And the spacers in between are not all uniform, believe it or not, but it makes them fit into where I want to put them. Yep, medallion quilts are really fun. I like to see them. I like to look at how they're constructed and all of the little surprises that you see when you're looking at them. And most of the quilts that I show you are really scrappy quilts. They are a jumble of all kinds of colors and patterns and all put together. I made this one in 2014, and this week I was cleaning out my closets and I found it, and I thought, oh, I should do a video about this quilt because it was for a competition. I entered the quilt in the International Plowing Match, Simcoe County, 2014, and I won a prize, a 3rd place prize. Nonetheless, I won a prize. So I know I could make quilts that the quilt police would admire because all of my points in all of the pieces are accurate, and all of these little pieces all up the sides are accurate, and the color was pleasing, and the rows were straight, and the stitching was straight. I know I don't spend much time doing accurate sewing, but I tried very hard with this one and I won a 3rd place prize. Hooray! So I'm going to tell you some of the things that I did when I made this. First of all, it is a medallion quilt. A medallion quilt starts with a centerpiece that has a focus. And in this case, my focus was these sheep blocks. All these little squares with sheep in them, to bring it to a plowing match and an agricultural idea. It is very scrappy because I picked out all of my autumn colors, the rusts and the browns and the golden colors, and I tried very hard to blend all of the scrap pieces with the black that was sort of a basic neutral color for this quilt. And when I quilted it, I did use my sewing machine and I quilted it with straight lines, but the quilting in this center medallion was just diagonal on point squares. Very straight, uniform stitching. When the judge was looking at the quilt, she did comment on the fact that these rows were particularly straight and the distance from one row to the next dividing area was particularly straight. She had a tape measure. She was measuring everything to make sure that all the rows were uniformly even and the stitching rows were uniformly even. So if you ever enter competitions, that's one thing that the judges definitely will look at. When you have a medallion quilt, you have to build out your rows from the center to the outside. You can see here that I have these rows of just 9 patch blocks in the middle. Then I have a row of pinwheels. Then I have a border with the sheep focus fabric. Then I have another straight line, a dark one to separate. And then I have a row of houses. They are just a 4 patch with a flying goose unit, but they are houses. So this is the barnyard. This is the windmills at the side for air. Here are the sheep out of the field. Here are the houses that they go into. And here are a row of fencing all the way around the quilt. So it did have a theme and it did make the judge quite happy. Another thing that the judge looked at, the backing particularly, and that the binding, when you get to this corner miter of the binding, it has to be stitched closed at the front and the back, a stitch in that little fold at the corner. She was very particular about that little feature there. But she looked at it, she thought pleasingness, the backing being appropriate for the quilt, the labeling in the bottom corner. So I thought you might be interested to see my quilt that I did take time and make to be judged, and I won a prize. So if you found this interesting and you would like to hear more about some of the quilts that I've made, and I will give commentaries about how I made them or features of the quilt, just let me know in the comments section below. And if you did like this little video, would you please give me a thumbs up, a like, in the comments as well. And come and see some of my other quilts and some of my other videos. By subscribing, you will get notifications when I post new videos. I hope you've enjoyed this. I had a fun time making this little video, and see you next time. Bye.